South African police have forcibly evicted scores of migrants who had been camping out for weeks in Cape Town. Around 100 people were arrested after violent clashes in front of a United Nations building. Now, the migrants are not demanding to stay. In fact, they want to leave. They say a recent wave of xenophobic violence directed at African migrants shows South Africa is no longer safe.
They came to South Africa to seek refuge or simply a better future. Now all they want is to get out. For weeks, hundreds of migrants have been camping here outside the UN's refugee agency in Cape Town, demanding to be relocated to other countries. But on Wednesday, after an eviction order, the police moved in. They fired water cannons and stun grenades. Police say they arrested some 100 foreign nationals who refused to disperse. For the protesters, the use of force by the police is fueling anger over what they call a xenophobic atmosphere in South Africa.
They're shooting with a gun. No one is animal. If us we are not welcome, they must tell us, they must talk to our government. We are not animal.
We are foreigner, exactly, but we are not foreigner because we are African, all of us. They don't want to even give us access because we are not African. We are foreigner. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? They forget from the period of apartheid.
Many migrants from other African countries go to South Africa seeking better job prospects. But after a spate of deadly riots and attacks in September, many say they no longer feel safe here. That's why these protesters in Cape Town have been calling on the UN to move them to another country. Last week, the UN Refugee Agency issued a statement saying false messages were being circulated about resettlement and that only a very small number of refugees and asylum seekers met the criteria. But that didn't stop the protests here. After Wednesday's police operation, remaining demonstrators headed on. For now, their new home is a local church, where they've been given temporary shelter.
Well, for more on this now, I'm joined by our correspondent in Cape Town, Adrien Kriest. Good to see you, Adrien. What is going to happen to these people now?
Well, Helena, 100 of them were actually temporarily arrested yesterday. They are released in the meantime, and it is likely that they will keep on protesting, but it is very unlikely that their demands will be met. We've heard it. They do not want to stay here because they don't feel safe here. They don't want to go back to their countries of origin. They want to go to other countries. Some protesters yesterday suggested Dubai, Europe, the USA, Canada, and this is just simply not going to happen. South Africa has about 270,000 refugees and asylum seekers. Imagine what kind of message that would send if some of them now are allowed to go. And remember also that not all of them are really refugees who are running away from violence in their countries. We've seen protesters from Kenya, for example. They are running away because of economic situations. And at the moment, the economic situation in South Africa is not much better than in their countries of origin. This is why many of them are frustrated, and this is why they want to go.
Look, Adrien, in that report, we saw a tough response from police. Why did the Cape Town police crack down so hard on this protest?
So the protesters have been gathering in front of the UNHCR office for weeks. And it is in a building where there's also other offices. So some people took them to court, asked the police to remove them. And this is what happened yesterday. It is, of course, very questionable, the force that was used to disperse the crowds yesterday. You've seen it, water cannons, tear gas. There were women injured. Children had to see how their own parents got beaten up. So this is very questionable, and this should be investigated.
And I suppose the broader question, of course, why has xenophobia become such a big problem in South Africa?
You see, ever since the end of apartheid 25 years ago, the hopes of the people were really, well, destroyed, I have to say, because there were so many hopes here that the country would improve for the poor majority of the country, and nothing much really happened. And this is why a lot of frustration came up. If we look at the current situation here, about 60% of the youth is unemployed. This year alone, another 500,000 people out of work. This is a massive problem, and this is what, of course, also caused this xenophobic attacks that we have seen in September. People fighting for the little that is available. I don't want to justify that, of course. It's terrible what we have seen here. But what we also have to say to clarify this, the xenophobic attacks that happened in September did not happen in Cape Town. They happened in other cities, like in Johannesburg.
Adrien Krisch in Cape Town, putting it into perspective for us. Thank you very much.